The CBS broadcast.
Oh, I didn't win the all-around competition, and this could be a very important confidence booster for her going into the World Championships in October in Rotterdam. On the other hand, Sabrina Maher has looked so terrific all week long. Sabrina has had an excellent competition. She comes into these finals in 3 events with an excellent opportunity for medals in each of those events, but especially on the floor exercise where she's leading, and she has an opportunity to set a new Pan American Games record there.
Kathy, how do you see it? It has been all United States to this point. That's been well documented. But coming into the individual events, do you see the other countries having a shot now?
Well, Tim, this is a great opportunity for some of the Cuban gymnasts like Luisa Prieto, Tania Guia, and Elsa Chivas to possibly challenge the United States gymnasts and take home some medals. Also, Luisa Ribeiro of Brazil has a chance at a medal on the uneven bars. It's a very close competition on every event, so I think we're going to see another exciting competition.
Okay, Kathy. The gymnasts will perform in Olympic order, only one event at a time, starting with the vault, followed by the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor exercise. Now, in the individual event finals, the top 8 gymnasts on each apparatus are selected to compete, determined by their compulsory and their optional scores. And as you look at the standings on the vault, I'll tell you that each country has allowed only 2 gymnasts. So once again, the United States, which had most of the top scorers, will be limited to just 2 competitors on each apparatus. Now, the first event is the vault, and as opposed to what you may have seen in the all-around where it was the best score of 2 vaults, today it's the average of both jumps, and this is Adriana Ruiz. That's her second vault. Adriana Ruiz of Venezuela. She had a 9.125 on her first vault. Now they will average the 2 scores here, and that will be her final score for this vault.
Now, she was doing a layout Tsukahara. It's not real strong off of the horse. You can see the arms bend. Good position in the air, but look at the step out of it. It's a pretty big deduction there.
Second score, 9.425.
9.425 for a total of 18.787. She is the first competitor on the vault. This is Tatiana Figueiredo of Brazil, 19 years old, from Rio de Janeiro. However, she attends school here in the United States at Oklahoma University.
Actually, I think it was supposed to be a layout Tsukahara, and she actually piked on the after flight. Not a real strong vault. She almost looks like she slows down going into the horse. And again, she doesn't open up into the position.
It looked like here, as you mentioned, Kathy, she backed off a little bit as going into the board, which cut down her speed, which of course will cut down your height and your post flight as well.
If it was supposed to be a pike Tsukahara, it's a fairly weak vault for her finals. She'll probably do a layout Tsukahara here for her second vault.
9.20, the first score for Tatiana Figueiredo of Brazil.
Now keep in mind the girls have to do 2 vaults here. They're taking the average of the 2 vaults, and the vaults have to be from different families.
And a layout Tsukahara, much better than the first vault.
Tatiana Figueiredo, she began her career in gymnastics in 1977. She's a sophomore at the University of Oklahoma.
She has actually better speed on this vault. Much better form in the air.
Now you can see here she really opens her body up here with a tremendous stretch right there, and then she pikes it in. That's the nice style on a layout Tsukahara. It'll score much better than the first vault, I'm sure.
9.475. And that gives her a total of 18.900. That's the top score right now. Adriana Duffy of Puerto Rico.
Not a real fast run. Halea Tsukahara. I didn't think she was going to have enough to get that one over.
You can see she's obviously a very strong girl. She's very powerful. And it seemed to me, as you mentioned, Kathy, she backed off going into the board right here, hoping to basically muscle this vault. She was behind, way back on the board. Her hands didn't quite get in good position on the horse. And of course, once you have all the problem in the pre-flight, there's not much you can do in the post-flight to correct.
Duffy is our third gymnast on this first apparatus, the vault. She has her second pass coming. This is Rhonda Fain of the United States, who had the high scorer on this apparatus throughout the competition. That was in the optionals, a 9.95.
16 falls total. It's only one time.
This will be Duffy's second jump.
Score 8.90.
And her second jump will be averaged with this 8.90.
Now the second ball.
She's looking to improve on that first vault. Hopefully get a little more speed on the run. Handspring front. Oh, ran right out of that vault.
We'll give you that score in just a moment, but let's look at Rhonda Fain. And with the weaker vaulters ahead of her, Rhonda only needs a 9.065 to take the lead. Right now, let's go back to Thursday, where she hit that solid 9.95.
This is a very exciting vault for Rhonda. She does a round-off approach and a layout. Tsukahara full off the horse. That's the way you're supposed to do it.
Rhonda Fain scored a perfect 10 on this apparatus at the United States Championships earlier this year. And there have only been 2 10s since the 1984 Olympics, when we had the vault without fault from Mary Lou Retton. Rhonda is 16 years old, coached by Bella Caroli.
A repeat of that vault we just saw would just about ensure a gold medal on this event for Rhonda.
9.20 for Adriana Duffy. And again, because of the weaker vaulters ahead of Rhonda, Fain needs only a 9.065 to take the lead.
Now remember, you have to do 2 different vaults, so I believe Rhonda will probably do a tucked Tsukahara with a full twist for her first vault. Very nice vault. She's so consistent on this vault, the way she goes back and gets onto the horse just perfectly.
Good push. Hips in, reach for the landing. Hey, go for it now. Fast, go, tall, push.
The words of Greg Marsden, the head coach of the United States team.
Watch how precise she is on the board. Perfect position. And right on top of the horse to get a good push off. It's a good angle to really see the push that Rhonda gets off the horse.
9.80 for Rhonda Fain. That score will be averaged in with her second jump coming up.
Now this is Rhonda's strongest vault. She'll do the same vault except in layout position. That was a missed vault. As you can see, she was a little off on the board, went back into the horse a little bit too hard, had to bend her arms, and really aborted the vault, actually. Let's take a look again. A lot of speed going in on the horse. She was a little too far on the end of the board. Really unfortunate for Rhonda. Here you can see the bent arms, poor position on the horse.
Stacey told me to tell you that you were back on the board on your first vault. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to, you know, think about it. Now, if I would, it would just be like you're on the board. Yeah, I was waiting.
You have to keep in mind that the powerhouses on vault are yet to come. So even though she needs a fairly low score to take the lead, those vaulters coming after her are very strong.
Listening to Christy Phillips and Rhonda Fain speak, and Christy had a little advice for her and said she was afraid to give it to her earlier, that it may mess her up mentally.
Hey, well, how's there?
You get a deduction for doing that.
It's only 5 cents deduction. That's pretty good vault.
Awaiting the scores of the 6 judges here in women's gymnastics. The top score and the low score are thrown out, and the rest are averaged together for the aggregate score.
It's a very difficult vault to score because there is a 5/10 deduction for doing the wrong vault. Then they have to judge the vault she actually did.
Rhonda joined the national team in 1987, so she's a relative newcomer. She earned a spot on this team by finishing 6th in the all-around at the recent championships of the United States. Coached by Bella Caroli.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel.
The next gymnast up is Oriana Mendez of Cuba. How much pressure does that put on her while she waits for the conversation of the judges? 8.963, her second vault, so that will definitely hurt Rhonda Fain in the standings. Her total, 19.218. She ranks first, but the stronger gymnasts are yet to come, and we'll be back with more gymnastics competition.
Kind of an unusual looking vault. She actually almost handspringed on, which is a front entry vault, and did like a branny out. Want to see this vault again? Watch the pre-flight. It's like a tensica on, front with a half off. Very similar to a Sukahara with a full twist.
Mendez had a 9.575, excuse me, Kathy, on her first jump.
She's not very clean in the air, and as you could see, the landing was not that good.
9.595 is what she needs total to take the lead.
Be interesting to see how they score that vault.
The vault is an interesting event in that it matches you against gravity. You just cut it loose at full speed, and the landing should be, as you said, just stick it.
Well, vaulting has really changed over the past few years. You notice that a lot of the girls are doing the round-off entry vaults. In fact, the next few vaulters will be doing that same vault. And it's really improved the vault as a whole. They're much more dynamic, much higher, and more exciting vaults.
How critical, Kathy, is the speed in this event? I mean, all of us, you're going horizontal, and suddenly you have to punch it and go vertical.
It's more important when you're doing a traditional vault, which is a front entry vault. But with a round-off vault, you still need a good speed.
9.550 for Mendez, which gives her a total of 19.188. She is still in second place, behind Rhonda Fain of the United States. This is Luisa Prieto of Cuba. She is 19 years old, from Havana, has been on the Cuban national team for 6 years. She needs a 9.425.
She is a dynamite vaulter. Round off, tuck Sukahara with a full twist. The same vault that Rhonda did for her first vault, and very comparable to Rhonda's.
Rhonda Fain is still the leader. Prieto needs a 9.425 total to take the lead.
Very good entry. As you notice, she was very light on her hands on the horse. Ideally, that's what you want. The timing on this vault is crucial, and the placing of the hands as well. And she's got it just right on.
Luisa Prieto of Cuba. She first got involved in this sport back in 1977 and actually performed in Caracas with the Cuban team at the Pan Am Games.
Now for her second vault, I believe she's doing the vault that Rhonda wanted to do for her second vault. Layout Sukahara with a full twist.
9.775 her first vault, her second vault coming up.
Now she came into this event with a 9.8, so a good steady vault here could give her the lead. It's actually very good onto the horse, just lacked a little bit of rotation, fairly large step at the end. She needs a 9.075 to take the lead. She should be able to do that fairly easily. Started out to be a good vault. Little too much pike in the layout position. And again, she was short on that landing. So actually a little bit short on the horse as well, which caused the lack of rotation.
And that giant step there, of course, will be a deduction of a tenth.
Probably 2 to 3 tenths.
Rhonda Fain is our leader. We still have what I call the heavyweights coming up, including Christy Phillips and Laura Rodriguez of Cuba.
I'm sure she would have liked to have done a better vault. I've seen her do that vault better. Much more laid out.
How important is the placing of the hands, Kathy, as to the final stick?
Well, on this vault, it's crucial. You're going back. It's a blind move. It's like a giant back handspring from the board to the horse. And there's no time. You have to just really get those hands on the horse.
Again, the 6 judges taking their time, putting up a score as Christy Phillips prepares. Christy Phillips staying loose. It'll be Laura Rodriguez up next of Cuba, followed by Christy Phillips, and the score is 9.525 for Luisa Prieto of Cuba. That gives her a total now of 19.450 and moves her into the lead ahead of Rhonda Fain. This is Laura Rodriguez of Cuba. Only 15 years old, but she's been in this sport since she was 5. She lives and trains in Havana. She's been on the national team for 2 years. This is her favorite event.
And I can see why. Round-off entry, layout Sukahara. She is so power-packed. That's why vaulting's such a good event for her. Good speed, good position, nice straight arms, and look at the position in the air.
While we wait for Luisa Prieto's score, let's go downstairs to Bart Connor.
Talking about having stars in your eyes, well, I'm joined by a whole bunch of gymnasts with stars in their eyes. Glad to have you all here. Are you enjoying the competition so far?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk first of all to Phoebe Mills, who, of course, as America knows, did not compete here because of an injury. How are you feeling now, and when should we expect to see you in competition again, Phoebe?
Well, my heel's getting a lot better. I'm starting to feel really good and getting back into shape. And, you know, hopefully I'll be 100% for World Championships.
And when are they?
October.
Well, best of luck. Christy had a rough time here, though, your old teammate. How do you feel about her performance here?
Well, you know, I guess she just had a really bad meet, but I guess it was better to get it over with now than at the World Championships, and so we should have a good competition there.
She's coming up on the vault. What do you think about her performance here?
She should do really well on vault. It's one of her stronger events, so I'm sure she can place really high in that event.
Okay, best of luck to her, and best of luck to you, Phoebe. Thanks for joining us, girls. Back to Tim.
All right, Bart, 9.838 is the score for Laura Rodriguez.
twist and a good landing. What's so remarkable about this vault is how fast she gets her hands off the horse and up over her head.
She needs a 9.739 to take over first place from Luisa Prieto.
Everything is just perfect. Good straight arms. And opens up out of the twist, lays it out, and then sticks. She noticed on a lot of the other vaulters they had bent arms on the horse. That's a deduction, and there's very little deduction here.
Score
9.90. The highest score of the afternoon gives her a total of 19.582. She is now our leader, Laura Rodriguez of Cuba. Christy Phillips up next for the United States. The top gymnast in the United States, winner of the U.S. Championships, consider the best on the United States team, although she has struggled here at the Pan American Games.
She's got to stick this vault. Little hop there at the end. Scores are so tight, though, she's going to have to be near perfect.
Okay. Stretch, nice and fast. Good stretch. Push. Strong.
The voice of Greg Marston, the head coach of the U.S. women.
Like most of the girls, doing the round-off entry vault. Fairly straight arms, good position in the air. Had to take that hop back.
Christy needs a 9.832 to take the lead. Now that 9.763 will be averaged with her second vault. And the total she needs is 9.832.
Christy will also try a layout Tsukahara with a full twist for her second vault. And
what happens, Kathy, if they pull up on the pass?
As long as they don't touch the board of the horse, they're fine. Otherwise, it would be a zero, and she wouldn't get to repeat the ball.
Okay. Relax. Big smile. Come on. Come on. You're okay. Here we go.
Mentally, that is very, very hard to come back from.
Here we go.
Christy Phillips, just 15 years old. She needs a 9.925 to take the lead.
Okay. I really think her steps were a little bit off. And on this vault, you cannot afford to be off on the run.
Christy Phillips had fallen off the balance beam twice this past week. Now she falls on this, the emotion of Christy Phillips.
As I said, I really think she had trouble with her steps. And you cannot afford to do that on this vault. She was having trouble in the warm-ups. She didn't get enough push off the horse in order to get it around.
Well, while we wait for Christy's score, we'll tell you that Laura Rodriguez will be the winner. 9.25 for Christy Phillips. So it is now official. The gold medal in the vault goes to Laura Rodriguez of Cuba. Right now, let's go back to the broadcast center and Brent Musburger. Brent?
All right, Tim, a magic moment there for Laura Rodriguez of Cuba. We certainly are coming right back. Your heart goes out to Christy Phillips, though, the way she is.
Straight arms on the horse. An open layout full.
Laura Rodriguez of Cuba wins the gold in the vault. So now they move on to the uneven bars, and these are the standings coming out of the compulsories and optionals. Melissa Marlowe of the United States is in first place, followed by Sabrina Mar, also of the United States, and Luisa Ribeiro of Brazil is third. Yesterday we mentioned that Bella Caroli was not here in Indianapolis. Caroli is the coach of several gymnasts participating in these games, and we've had conflicting reports on why he is not in attendance. And last night we spoke to Bella Caroli and we asked him if it was injury or conflict which kept him away from the Pan American Games, as we had conflicting reports throughout the Pan American competition. And this is what Bella Caroli had to say last night.
I was not selected among the national team coaches, but I thought, based on my achievements, not in past years, but in this year, I would deserve to have it. In other words, my kids, the number of 3, they've been competing, or at least been asked to compete on the Pan American Games. And personally, I wasn't asked to be at least an assistant coach of the national team. What I thought is really ridiculous.
Now, joining us live on the floor is Mike Jackie, the Executive Director of the United States Gymnastics Federation. Maybe you can explain the Gymnastics Federation's point of view on this subject, Mike.
Well, obviously, Bart, this comes as a very disappointing position to me from Bella. First of all, back almost a year ago, Bella was one of the committee members that made the decision on how we were going to handle our coaching program, number one. Secondly, not only was he invited to be part of the coaching staff, he had plane tickets, hotel reservations, credentials. He was all set. We have an international rule that says that in the team competition, you have 2 coaches, okay? What we decided is that we'd have 2 neutral coaches. Greg Marsden, Greg had the ability to select his other coach. Normally, you select a woman as the second coach. That was all part of the decision that went back 7, 8, 9 months ago. Bella was the guy in the very first place that nominated and positioned Greg in this position.
Now, in the individual event finals, they can have their personal coaches.
Absolutely. The individual event finals, competition 2 and 3, they can have their individual event coaches.
Right.
When Christy needed Bella, he could have been here, just like Don Peters was, and Mark Lee was, and Bill Adonis Strauss, and Becky Buick. They all had their individual athletes
Okay, thank
here.
you very much, Mike. Thanks. Back to you, Tim.
All right, Bart. Luisa Ribeiro of Brazil is on the uneven bars. She was born in Rio de Janeiro. She is only 14 years of age.
Now, this is not one of her best routines on this event. I have seen her look outstanding here, but she did make it through. She's a talented new youngster coming on this scene. Shows a lot of promise.
Luisa Ribeiro has been in gymnastics only 8 years. This is her first year on the senior team.
Stalled her to handstand. The moves aren't as crisp and clear as I've seen her do. It's a pike double back dismount.
She was 3rd coming in, but she must be injured. She scratched on the vault, she scratched on the floor exercises, and she really did not look that sharp on the uneven bars.
No peguei na unha, não fui parar nenhuma das coisas.
Missy Marlowe and Sabrina Marr will also participate on the uneven bars for the United States. They come up just a little bit later.
And they will add a lot of excitement to this event. They're both excellent on this event.
We're now told that Luis Ribeiro of Brazil does have a knee problem. So Luisa is really struggling. She has scratched, as I said, from 2 other events. Luisa is quite an accomplished musician. She plays the piano, the guitar. They have great expectations for her, and her score 9.58. And being first up, that's the score to beat. Next up is Elsa Chivas of Cuba. She is the oldest of the Cuban women. She's 22 years of age. She is also the most experienced Cuban gymnast in international competition.
As you can probably tell, she's a very strong gymnast. Watch this mount. It's very unique. Haven't seen it done in a long time. Trip to handstand. Delchev. Actually, that's a poor connection. They probably won't take a deduction for an extra swing. For a poor connection, they will. Cast a handstand. Giant swing. And a tuck double flyaway. She slung it out just a little bit and had to take a hop.
She needs a 9.739 to take the lead.
Now look at this mount. It's almost like she's going to jump back to do a back handspring. She grabs the bar and then kips up to the high bar. It's a free hip blind change or half turn. Nice high release move, a Delchev. There's that extra swing. Setting up for a dismount. Giant swing. And a tuck double flyaway. See how far she landed away from the uneven bars. She kind of slung it out.
Sabrina Barr and Missy Marlowe yet to come on the uneven bars for the United States. Sabrina coming off that marvelous performance in the all-around competition where she won the gold.
Sometimes it's so difficult for these gymnasts to come right back the next day and perform in event finals. It's a very demanding competition here, physically. A lot of the girls don't look quite as sharp as they did in the all-around.
9.739 is the score that Chivas needs to take the lead.
We need you for awards. Well, since 9.6 is very hard. Come down 110 for span.
These are the judges debating the performance of Elsa Chivas.
You have to get the scores within range so you can hear the judges asking if they'll come down 1 or go up 1/10.
It seems like there is more debate in gymnastics than there is in many other sports, say in diving.
Well, it's so subjective. It's depending on what each particular judge is looking for. A lot of them are sticklers on form. A lot of them really go for the more difficult skills. That's why we now have 6 judges dropping the high and low.
How political is the judging?
In an event like this, not so much as in a team competition.
9.0 of Brazil, followed by Elsa Chivas and Laura Rodriguez. But the 2 Americans are yet to come, Sabrina Marr and Missy Marlowe. Next up on the uneven bars, Maria Inez Flores of Guatemala City. She is quite a story. Left home when she was 12 in search of a coach, hooked up with Bella Caroli, injured her arm, and still performs with plates and screws in her bones to brace her arms.
It's hard to believe watching her work bars now. Not quite showing the handstand positions.
She was severely injured, Kathy, on the dismount of the bars, a freak accident.
She does a Coleman each dismount. It was a good performance from her, but it really lacked any of the big skills that the other performers are doing on this event. There's no major release move.
Yeah, the judges are definitely looking for the big release moves. One thing, however, that makes this exercise very nice is the fact that she has excellent toe point, good clean lines, perfect form. However, in the finals, you do need to show some very big difficulty skills. And here she does a nice cast a handstand at the end. The giant is clean, really nice extension in form here. But a very simple tucked Coleman each dismount, of course. Not a big dismount, and it'll prevent her from getting a really high score.
And again, we tell you that she needs a 9.829 to take the lead on the uneven bars. The next gymnast up, Missy Marlowe of the United States. She's 15 years old. Her hometown is Salt Lake City, Utah, and she's been competing 8 years. Her coach is Mark Lee, and her best event, the uneven bars. This is Maria Inez Flores waiting for her score. Quite a comeback. In 1986, she won the gold in the all-around competition in the Central American Games, plus 4 medals in individual competitions during those games. Following that severe injury,
She's had a terrific time here, though. I've noticed all week long she's been really enjoying the competition. She and her coach, Jack Thomas, have been parading around smiling, and really I think this is a terrific moment for her because she came to this competition hoping to do well, and she performed very cleanly, and I think that's important, to not make any major mistakes in the finals.
Kathy, how would the delay affect Missy Marlowe?
Well, most of these athletes are very well trained, and they've been in this situation before where they have to wait for a judges' conference.
9.475 for Maria Inez Flores. That gives her a total of 18.90, which moves her into third place.
And Missy is just gorgeous on this event.
The leader is still Luisa Ribeiro.
Look for extraordinary toe point, straight legs, and lines. Good stalder work. It's a front stalder. So smooth. A little low on that cast to handstand, but a good reverse hect. And a tuck Comaneci dismount. Ooh, the step on that landing. In order to get the really big scores here in event finals, you've got to fight for every 10th of a point, including that landing. It's crucial that you stick. Good handstand position. Again, look at the line, the straight leg. She never loses her form. And a tuck Comaneci dismount. She could definitely learn a more difficult ending, a dismount.
She needs a 9.427 to take the lead. Sabrina Marr, the gold medalist in the all-around competition, is waiting. She is next. .80 is the score for Missy Marlowe. So she now moves into first place, giving her a total of 19.637.
Now it's interesting to compare these two athletes on this event. Missy is very smooth and clean and flowing. Sabrina is aggressive, has two big release moves in the routine.
Sabrina Marr, 17 years old, a 12th grader at Marina High School in Monterey Park, California. She needs a 9.926 to take the lead.
Stalled her to handstand. Big reverse hect. Here's her second release move. A Ginger immediately goes over the low bar. Free up to handstand. And a double tuck flyaway. Just a slight step on the landing. Very good performance.
Quite a story, Sabrina Marr. She almost gave up the sport 2 years ago when she was suffering from a very bad back injury.
We're going to take a look at her release move here. Reverse hect, way away from the bar. That's what the judges are looking for on these release moves. Getting the height and distance from the bar. Here's Sabrina's dismount. She has a free hip to handstand and a double tuck flyaway.
The score of Sabrina Marr, but there is another conference on the uneven bars.
The During our gymnastics event, demonstrating a recognized Olympic sport, active gymnastics.
Kathy, it seems as if the judges weigh so heavily that dismount and the landing, almost more than the performance and routine itself.
Well, it's kind of a mindset of the judges. It's the last thing they see. It's the finishing touch. I think what's really hard for these judges is making a comparison between the last two routines. They're both very good for different reasons.
Scoring ever since the Pan American Games began has been rather slow. I know in the men's competition the Cubans were very upset with the scoring. They thought it was unfairly low. Women's competition has gone rather smoothly, but here today there have been conferences and the judges have been slow to post the scores.
One thing that slows it down, though, is the language barrier. They have to, it's a little difficult in talking gymnastics terms when they don't speak the same language. They have an interpreter down there.
Missy Marlowe has the high score of the day on the uneven bars with a 9.800. She is our current leader. Anxiously waiting her score. Missy would love to walk away with a gold medal. Her birthday is Tuesday. Meanwhile, Sabrina Marr, the gold medalist in the all-around competition, waiting for her score, and it is a 9.800. It has just been posted. So Missy Marlowe does win the gold medal. Sabrina Marr will take the silver, and Luisa Riviero will take the bronze. And right now, let's go to Bart Connor with the gold medal winner.
Missy, congratulations. I know you were disappointed in your all-around performance, but today you were only in one event final, but you won the gold. It had to be a great win.
Yeah, I had all my concentration ready right for bars, and I didn't do as well as I would like to in all-around, so I thought I could do it here.
As we take a look at the routine, tell me what was going through your mind throughout the exercise.
I just constantly kept telling myself to let us swing and to not worry about it. Just let myself do what I knew I could do.
You have a very smooth style. Is that important to you?
It's very important. I think it makes, the whole routine look cleaner for the whole part. So.
And of course, the landing, you were worried about sticking that landing. You took a couple of steps there. Did you think you might have lost it?
No, I would like to stick it, but I was happy on a whole with the performance, so it doesn't bother me too much.
Well, what's next for you?
We're starting as soon as we get back to push for Worlds. So.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Missy.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Tim?
All right, Bart, and the final standings then on the uneven bars. Melissa Marlowe wins the gold. Sabrina Marr finishes second, takes the silver, and Luisa Riviero finishes third and takes the bronze. The second place of Cuba, and Tanya Guia of Cuba is in third place. Now Sabrina Marr of the United States is in fourth place, followed by the Canadians and the Guatemalans. Now, a reminder that in the individual event finals, the top 8 athletes on each apparatus are selected to compete, determined by the compulsory and optional scores. However, each country is allowed only 2 gymnasts per event. So once again, the United States, would have most of the top scores, will be limited to just 2 performers on each apparatus. Now let's go back to the vault, which was the first apparatus. Cuba had a 1-2 finish on that vault. Laura Rodriguez won the gold with the highest score of today's competition at 9.9 on that vault. And she set the record, 19.582, a Pan American Games record.
And it was a beauty. Round off on layout Sugara of the full twist with a perfect landing.
So Laura Rodriguez won the gold. Luisa Prieto of Cuba took the silver, and Christy Phillips of the United States won the bronze. Then on the uneven bars, the United States took the top 2 spots. Melissa Marlowe won the gold. Sabrina Marr won the silver, followed by Luisa Riviero of Brazil for the bronze. Now let's go back and take a look at Missy Marlowe's performance on the uneven bars.
Another outstanding performance for Missy on this event. Beautiful line all the way through the routine. The judges really rewarded her for good form, good execution.
Now, one of the major stories here has been the performance of Christy Phillips. Christy qualified for only 2 events here in the finals events, the vault and the floor exercise, and she fell on her landing, Kathy, on the vault just as she fell from the beam both yesterday in the all-around competition and Thursday during the optionals.
Christy's spirits have been a little bit down over the past couple days, and I think that was the reason behind the breaks. It's unfortunate she's not in balance beam. She's an excellent performer on that event.
We are going through a warm-up period now on the balance beam as you look at Kelly Garrison-Steeves of the United States. And although Kelly Garrison-Steeves says that this is her favorite event and she is by far the most steady of the group on the balance beam, it seems as if all the United States performers have struggled on the balance beam here in the competition of the Pan Am Games.
A lot of the United States girls, this is their first time to compete on the podium, which it's a little bit different up there. The beam's a little shaky. It's a little higher than normal. They just have to get some more experience and adjust to that.
You can see that Kelly Garrison-Steeves is very concerned about her warm-up period where she actually lost her balance on the beam and then fell during the dismount. She is the oldest member of the United States women's team. She is 20 and a student at the University of Oklahoma. Now this is Sabrina Marr, the winner of the all-around competition yesterday, as she talks to her coach, Greg Marston. Entering the finals of the balance beam now, Kelly Garrison-Steeves, you just saw her warm up, is in first place. This is a combination of the compulsory and optional routines that they carry here into the finals, followed by Elsa Chivas and Tanya Guia. This is Elsa Chivas of Cuba. Chivas is the oldest of the Cuban women. She is 22 years of age. She also is the most experienced Cuban gymnast in international competition, having performed countless times in Moscow, Romania, Hungary. She's also performed in the Pan Am Games in both '79 and 1983.
With all that experience under her belt, that should help her here in finals on the balance beam. She's very accustomed to the pressure. She's very sharp in her movements. Round off, layout, step out. A very difficult pass on the balance beam. Full turn right to a needle scale. Standing layout step out, slight bend of the second leg coming over. Overall, it's been a steady performance so far. Dismount, round off, tuck double back. Boy, she really cowboys that last somersault.
Elsa Chivas of Cuba, considered an old-timer by today's standards. Strong performance.
Now here's that first tumbling pass on the beam. Round off, layout, step out. And the dismount. Now really it will be a deduction on the double back. See how far she pulls her legs out to the side.
Chivas was in second place coming into the finals. I think we should mention, too, that the balance beam is only 4 inches wide, 4 feet off the ground, and 16 feet long. So it is a dreaded apparatus by many of the gymnasts.
Sometimes in competition, it doesn't even look 4 inches wide.
And yet it looks like they have to perform like they're walking down a sidewalk.
Elsa is in the position that I always like being in, going up first and then sitting back and just watching everyone else try and beat her.
Maria Inez Flores will be next. She's 16 years old from Guatemala while we wait for the score of Elsa Chivas. Again, we repeat that story of Maria Inez Flores. She left home when she was 12 in search of a coach, and she did hook up with Bella Caroli in Houston. Then in September of 1984, she had a bad dismount of the bars, a freak accident which left her with 4 broken bones, 2 in each arm. She had emergency surgery and still performs with plates and screws in her arms to brace those bones. Quite a comeback.
Now she comes into this event with only a 9.2. Will make it very difficult to catch the leaders, but in an event like the balance beam, anything can happen.
She has had success, though, since that comeback. In 1986, she won the gold in the all-around competition in the Central American Games, plus 4 medals in the individual competition. And there's another delay in scoring. Six judges. Top score thrown out, bottom score thrown out, average the remaining 4.
So obviously those middle scores are not in range. A lot of time the question is how much of a deduction is certain mistakes. I would say the cowboy on the dismount is in question right now.
Kelly Garrison-Steeves of the United States is the #1 performer thus far in the standings on the balance beam. Elsa Chivas, right here as she waits for her score, is in second place. Kelly Garrison-Steeves, recently married, student at the University of Oklahoma. And her husband, Mark, is a gymnast for the Sooners.
Actually, he does quite well in gymnastics, just like Kelly.
This sport has changed so drastically when you see Kelly Garrison-Steeves at 20 years of age, the oldest member of the United States team and one of the oldest competitors here at the Pan American Games. When you think back to 1963, where the average age was 23 years of age for the United States, and that then was considered very young. Elsa Chivas of Cuba waiting for her score. There was a problem with the scoring yesterday. The computers could not round out the numbers, the tenths, and so they had to wait and adjust the scores last night, although it didn't affect the leaders. Right now, Bart Connor is with the United States coach, Greg Marsden.
Now, Greg, the U.S. team definitely dominated this competition here, and looking ahead to the World Championships and next year's Olympic competition, what kinds of improvements do you think the girls will need to make in order to compete against some of the better teams in the world, like the Soviets and the East Germans?
Well, I'm real excited with this team because obviously we are deep. We have a lot of strength with a lot of athletes, which was demonstrated by how many we've got in finals and who's winning awards and that kind of thing. Obviously, the thing that we've got to resolve is consistency. We cannot miss routines at World Championships. It's like 2 false starts in track and field. You take yourself out of the event. So we've got to get back in the gym and work on consistency. Go there, and I think our goal at the World Championships is try to win a medal, but more importantly, to make a statement to the rest of the world that USA Gymnastics is back.
We wish you the best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
Back to Tim.
All right, we finally had the score posted for Elsa Chivas. She had a 9.638. This is Maria Inez Flores.
2 back handsprings to a layout step out. Little balance problem on the end. Also slightly bent legs in the layout. Gainer layout step out. Good landing. Again, a little sloppy with the legs.
Maria is competing mostly for pride now, knowing that she cannot win a gold medal. She needs more than a 10, which is impossible.
Christy might have started something here. Everybody's starting to worry about their full turns on balance beam. It's a requirement that you must do. switch leg lead. Setting up for the dismount. Round off, double twist, and problems on the landing. She over-rotated the somersault and barely finished the twist.
Kathy, we've talked about the problems that people have had on the beam, and yet there are people like Tracy Talavera and Katarina Szabo who were made for this event.
Sabrina did a really solid routine here. Now watch the mount. In the all-around competition, she just nailed this. Round off, layout, step out. Had to step back out of it. Sabrina has gotten so good at covering up any minor little problems. Now this was the crucial part of the routine. Back handspring, layout, step out. Little arm swing to regain balance. But again, she just keeps moving. She has tremendous lower body strength, which keeps her very secure on beam. This is a gainer layout, step out. Nails the landing. Again, a slight bend on that second leg going over the top. These are very, very minor deductions. And the dismount. Round off, double back. And another good landing for Sabrina.
And Sabrina Marr's score, 9.663. So she moves from the 4th position up to a share of the lead. Take another look at Sabrina Marr's performance. And we remind you that there are only 2 U.S. performers who qualify for each event.
Now from this angle, we can see exactly her position coming onto the beam. Upper body was a little off to the side, but she handled it. And the dismount, she gets tremendous push off the beam. Good rotation. And again,
9.663. So it is Sabrina Marr and Kelly Garrison Steeves of the United States that are performing on the balance beam. Kelly Garrison will need a 9.589 to take the lead on the balance beam. Now this is the first meet as a team for these American girls, and having the meet in the United States I think has made it special.
It feels great. I just can't explain the support that we get from the audience, the crowd, and everyone else, but it's just great competing in the United States. We let the United States know that we can do it, and that, I mean, we can do it again. Besides just in 84, that, you know, we have the power to do it in 88.
Now the scoring has been a debate today, and the crowd has not really enjoyed the wait and see from the judges here, but it's been a controversial situation all the way through these Pan American Games, in that the judges have taken so long to make their decisions and to agree on the average and get it up on the board. And I would suspect, Kathy, that that does not help the sport at all as far as the viewers are concerned, and for the more than 14,000 people that are here at the Hoosier Dome today.
You're right, Tim. There was problems in the men's competition. The judges taking so long that the audience gets bored in between.
Kelly Garrison Steeves, 5'1", 108 pounds, 20 years old, from the University of Oklahoma, waiting her turn on the balance beam. She's coached by Greg and Becky Buick. She is the reigning NCAA all-around champion.
And I always look forward to seeing Kelly perform on this event. She holds nothing back. She's very willing to take risks on this event.
Christy Phillips did not qualify for the balance beam on the individual events, although this is normally her best event. but she fell not only in the optionals but also in the all-around competition from the balance beam. So it is Kelly Garrison Steeves and Sabrina Marr, the two United States gymnasts that have qualified here for this event final. And there is Christy Phillips.
Surprisingly, Christy really hasn't had the opportunity to compete in a meet like this on the podium, and I think it was just a lack of experience.
Do you think Kelly Garrison Steeves knows what she needs to take the lead, that 9.589? And would you like to know?
I doubt very seriously she knows the exact score she needs. She knows she's got to hit this performance, though.
But as a performer, would you like to know?
Actually not. No, we're not really up against a score. We're not trying to get a certain score or beat a certain person. We're trying to do our routine the best we possibly can and go for perfection.
Still waiting for the judges' scores. Greg Marsden, what a job that he has done with the women's team. He's had a tremendous amount of success at the University of Utah.
Push, tight.
He's coached 6 national champions. Kelly Garrison Steeves for the gold medal.
Very important part of her routine right here, the mount, round off, tuck back onto the beam, and it was perfect. Another tough pass, 2 back handsprings, and a back tuck. Off to a great start. Aerial cartwheel right to the end of the beam. She never stops moving. It's a very unique move, typically done on the floor exercise. And a beautiful turn to a balance. Just about every move in her routine is of difficulty. Probably the most difficult pass right here. Cartwheel layout, step out. Slight problem with the landing, but her sense of balance is so great.
How much of a deduction for that bobble?
Some judges might take 0.2 of a point. Some might take as little as a tenth. I would take 2. But everything else in the routine has been so solid. Going for a stick on a double back dismount. Yeah. All right. Good job for Kelly. That's her coach, Becky Buick, at the University of Oklahoma. This is a tremendous first pass on the balance beam. Such a difficult mount. Look how straight and just rock solid. Two back handsprings, right into another tuck back, and again, solid. Now this is a new dismount for Kelly. In this competition, it's a round off, double back in tuck position, pulls it around, almost had the stick, but had to take one little step.
Kelly Garrison Steeves needs a 9.589 to take the lead.
That should be no problem.
She gets a 9.713. So Kelly Garrison Steeves moves up into first place. There is one more gymnast to perform on the balance beam. It is Tanya Gia. Gia needs a 9.777 to take the gold away from Kelly Garrison Steeves.
Now she scored a 9.6 in the all-around competition in this event.
Gia is 16 years old. She is from Havana, Cuba. She's been on the senior team for 2 years.
Her first tumbling pass on beam. Back handspring to 2 feet right into a layout step out. Now, unlike Kelly, she doesn't have the number of skills in her routine. There's a round off layout step out. She's moving quite well. But in terms of originality and the level of difficulty, Kelly really surpasses her.
So you're saying she doesn't have the amount of difficulty to beat Kelly Garrison right now?
Round off back handspring, double twisting, layout.
Do you think that's good enough to take the gold from Kelly?
It was so solid, but I really, in my opinion, I don't think it's good enough to take the gold, but it can come close.
She needs a 9.77 to win the gold. And while we wait for Tanya Gia's score, we'll be back with more gymnastics right after these messages.
Your life, certainly in the finals here at the Pan American Games, a big event for you.
I was really pleased. I could have set my dismount, but other than that, I felt like it was a great routine.
Now, Tanya Gia did a very nice exercise. Do you think she can beat you?
There's a good shot. She didn't have any wiggles at all, and the score hadn't been up yet, so we'll see.
In your opinion, personally?
I was pleased with my performance, and I came and did what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish, and I couldn't ask for anything else.
Ever since day one, when you began gymnastics, you were outstanding on the balance beam. What is it about Kelly Garrison and the balance beam? Why do you think you're so comfortable up there?
I don't know. It just seems to be the easiest for me, and I guess I adapted to it so much easier than other events, and I don't have a very high fear factor, so I was pleased with that more than, it just seems more comfortable than the other events.
I don't think a lot of people realize here that, of course, on tomorrow you'll be heading back to school at the University of Oklahoma. Are you looking forward to being back in class?
Maybe not in class, but home with Mark, my husband.
Would you like to say hi to Mark Steves, your husband?
Hi, Mark. I miss you.
Back to Tim.
All right, Bart. We are still awaiting the score of Tanya Gia and Kelly Garrison Steves. It is unusual that you hear a gymnast say that the balance beam is their favorite event because it is dreaded by so many gymnasts, only 4 inches wide. But let's go back now, and we will look at Kelly Garrison Steve. Here it is, 9.675. So Kelly Garrison Steve wins the gold medal. Tanya Gia finishes second. She will take the silver, and there is a tie for the bronze medal between Elsa Chivas and Sabrina Marr with this performance.
And Sabrina had another great performance on the floor exercise. Again, she opened with that very difficult double layout somersault. Actually done much better than even the competition before, but watch this, she steps out of bounds. 1/10 of a point off.
Sabrina has been so aggressive throughout the competition. It's not unusual. We're certainly not surprised to see her overdoing things and going out of bounds because of that.
Middle tumbling run, whip over through to a double twist. The time that's been put in perfecting every movement.
Pan Am Games all-around champion, and this is her best event.
Double tuck dismount, well done again. Beautiful job. Coach Don Peters, the head coach at Scats, and Greg Marzin, of course, the national team coach.
You can see what happens on the layout double back. As we mentioned, she's really overdoing things. She can do this with a perfectly straight body. She tends to pike a little bit in the second flip, which causes her right here to pull it around just a little too far. 1-2 steps, and of course that second step there with the right foot caused that yellow flag to be raised right there, signifying 1/10 of a point for out of bounds.
9.65 puts Sabrina Marr in first place. Now, Christy Phillips needed more than a 9.70 to win the gold and take over first from Sabrina Marr. Christy had a 9.725 in the all-around competition. That would win it, but Christy's confidence has been shaken.
And this was by far her best performance of the entire competition. Nice full twisting double back, and she just nailed it. For her middle tumbling run, tuck double back, and another good landing. These are much better than we saw in the team competition or the all-around.
Presenting the gold medal, Gymnastics Sports Commissioner of the Pan-American Games, Indianapolis 2008.
This is the Christy Phillips that everyone knows.
It's as if she's telling the gymnastics community, hey, don't worry about me. I might have lost the all-around title, but she shows a tremendous amount of aggressiveness throughout the complete exercise with a terrific pike double back, which she really sells the landing on.
For her to finish.
That's the way. Way to go. That's more like it. Good.
And her score was 9.813, which gave her a total of 19.538, a Pan American record for this event. So the final standings then: Christy Phillips wins the gold, Sabrina Marr takes home the silver, and Laura Rodriguez of Cuba wins the bronze. And Bart Connor spoke with Christy Phillips right after that performance.
Christy, I know all of America wanted to see you win a gold here today in the Pan American Games. What a beautiful job on the floor exercise, and you set a new Pan American Games record. How did you feel about that one?
It was a great 14 for me because I had just come back from not doing so well on vault and not doing really that great throughout the whole meet, but finishing on a good beat really just psyched me up.
How important is that to you in terms of your psychological preparation for the World Championships coming up?
Well, knowing that I got all my bad stuff out here, hopefully when I get to the Worlds, I'll just be perfect.
Well, congratulations. Great job.
Thank you, Bart.
And once again, the final standings for the floor exercises: Christy Phillips wins the gold.